I know. Thank you very much.
Get you going.
Why don't we talk for a minute about where we are in the process in case anyone wants to watch the recording. Then I think we'll reach out to the supply of non-Charter Review Commission members seeking comment. And then if we end up with somewhat sparse attendance, we'll just view this as a job well done because the last one was actually pretty robust. So very briefly, for those of you who are here and those of you that watch it later, we're the Charter Review Commission for the town of Madison. I'm Joe McDougall. I'm the chair. Maybe if we could go by alphabetical order by first name and see if you could just introduce yourselves to the ether. So I think that, Dave, that puts you first, I think.
Puts me first, David Osterman. I've been in Madison for now, I guess, 15 years or so. Yeah, this has been a great experience, the Charter Review Commission.
Joan Walker. I've been in Madison for 25 years, former Board of Selectmen member, and kind of constitutional nerd. Not as much as our fair chairman, however, do love the ins and outs of our political system.
Liz?
Hi, Liz Daly. I've had a home in Madison for 63 years and have really enjoyed being on the Charter Review and look forward to hearing what people have to say tonight.
My name is Matt Gordon. We've been living here for almost 5 years in Madison. Love this process and the team, and learned a lot about Madison through this process.
Bob.
And I'm a Connecticut high school graduate, and I've been in Madison, I guess, 4 or 5 years. I'm a retired political science professor and an active bureaucrat. I work for the National Science Foundation.
Excellent. So, and as I said, I'm Joe McDougall. I've been here for 28 years. I think it might be 29. And by day, I'm a law professor at the University of Connecticut School of Law, where I do mostly environmental and constitutional law. So what I thought we'd do is just very briefly, the charter is available up in underline and cross out, thanks to Lauren Rhines, who helps guide everything we do. I highly recommend, even if you're catching this recording later, please take a look at it. There's a place where you can comment on it within the website. Maybe Lauren, you can remind me of the URL at some time. Some of the big issues we've been discussing have to do with, there's been a lot of cleanup. A lot of what the commission did is started at the beginning and ended at the end. And our understanding is it's been quite some time since that's been done to the charter, as a grouping. And I think it was long overdue. So one of the themes of some of our members, particularly Bob, likes to remind us that the charter should be accessible to people. It was not the most readable thing due to, I think, years of kind of patchworking. Other significant changes that we've put in place. We've taken some commissions out of the charter. The charter listed every commission you could imagine. We've moved them out. That doesn't mean those commissions aren't important and shouldn't be in place. It just means that the Board of Selectmen has the flexibility to use them, to move them as they see fit. We had some commissions in the charter that had no members and hadn't had members for as long as anyone can remember. So we didn't think it would, the phrase we've come to is charterize. Once it's in the charter, it's stuck there for a decade. And some things are appropriate for that and some things aren't. But I said it doesn't mean that any of those commissions aren't appropriate, and nor does it mean that we don't expect them to go on forever. Other things we've done is we've spent a lot of time looking at the terms of the boards. One of our proposals that we're eager to get feedback about is moving the Board of Selectmen from a 2-year term to a 4-year term, and moving the first selectman from a 2-year term to a 4-year term. We've gotten that feedback over and over again from both staff, but also people that engage with Town Hall, that it gets to be a little chaotic. Another thing we did is we arranged for the first selectman to take over. If any of you close followers might notice that the first selectman, once elected, becomes first selectman the next Tuesday. And a comment from our current first selectman was, imagine what that means if you're working at a job. You quit, you arrange health insurance, it's impossible. So we now have the first selectman taking office, I believe the first meeting in December. So providing a couple of weeks. It's sort of normal to give at least 2 weeks notice. This gives a little more space than that. One of the big things that we've yet to resolve that we're talking about currently, and we'll talk about in our current meetings, is the line between the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen. It's pretty murky. And it leads to overlap. The practice, because of the good people of Madison and the fact we're lucky to have a lot of repeat volunteers, hasn't been that problematic except on sort of rare occasion. But the charter is really imprecise on what we're voting on. Does the Board of Finance vote for on the same terms and the same reason as the Board of Selectmen? How do you define that? Maybe there's no good way to. Maybe there's a great idea, but that's what we'll be working on in the coming terms. I'd ask the board, did I miss any of the major items?
No, I think that wraps it up, Joe. Those are the big topics we have.
Yeah, so our hope is that we'll probably take a little break from this commission because from our meeting schedule as we move toward the holidays. But starting up in January, assuming the Board of Selectmen extends this commission, which we expect them to, then we are really going to be focusing, I think, on that issue. Any of the sort of major legal review issues that we just had our legal review meeting last week, and we'll probably have another one sometime after the turn of the year, and prepare this for final submission to the Board of Selectmen. I think we'll ask for a 6-month extension, but I don't expect the board to take that long for how we're proceeding. Would anyone else like to say anything before we open it up to the mass of the live audience? That being said, I would like to ask the participants if they would like to queue up to ask if any have a question or a comment about anything either in the charter or other things we should consider. I should point out again for anyone watching the recording, this is the second public hearing we've had on the same topic within about a 3-week time span. Lauren, do we have questions from anyone?
No one has their hand raised.
So I would like to go on record of thanking our attendees for coming. We appreciate it. Some of the people in the attendee group are people that have helped us throughout, and one particularly devoted follower. Is there anything else, Lauren, you think we should cover here in the context of the public hearing? It's at least 10 minutes past. I said I'm not terribly surprised since the last one was fairly robust.
So I will just quickly share my screen just so that we get that website on the screen for everybody who's watching this later that Joe had just mentioned.
Perfect.
So hopefully you can see this. All questions can go to madisonct.org/charter review. And when you click on that, as Joe said, you'll see the current red line draft as well as space where you can email the committee and ask questions to them that way.
And Lauren, just for the sake of completeness, I had done the major issues from memory on slides 6 and 7. If you took a quick gander on them, did I miss anything?
I don't think so. But we can quickly just throw them up here too.
Oh yeah, the last 2 bullets. One of the things we've also done throughout the charter, and this is more than just this area, we've tried to remove ways of thinking that are anachronistic. So for instance, if it said newspaper, we try and do communication. If the charter is repeating a state statute, we tried to remove it so that if the statute changes, we don't have to change the charter, things like that. And we thought a lot about trying to expand access to both participation in government and also on the boards.
And the one other thing we did was suggest that the Board of Finance go to a 7-member board.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's significant. Though we got the answer to this for you dedicated Charter Review Commission watchers, I was surprised that and stop me if I get it right, that the original 6-member Board of Finance was a byproduct of the very first enabling statute. I think that's what Ira told us. Yes. And that most towns actually don't have 6. They have an odd number like everyone else. It wasn't sort of a comprehensive list, but it was, I think we're a little behind the times, but we could never figure out why it was 6, whether there was, wisdom of the town forefathers. Turns out to be, that was the default at the time.
Yep.
All right. Anything else? All right, well, guys, in that case, it's a short night. Lauren, I'd ask you then to close the public hearing, and maybe we could just hang for a second just to talk scheduling.
Great.
Thank you, everyone.